I want to quickly talk to you about how to design a website. And it doesn't matter if you want to do a website for a project, a personal project, a business, an online store. I'm going to explain to you the step-by-step you need to pay attention to if you want to design a website. So here's an overview I want you to pay attention to. The thing is that you need a couple of things before you design your website. There are a few things you need to have ready. So we're talking here about the basics, the foundation, the fulcrum. So you got to think about web hosting. So your website content requires physical space. And this is what web hosting platforms do. They store your text, images, and databases so that you can access them on the web. You also have to think about a domain name. So your domain name is the address visitors see in their browser, in the browser bar, when they search for you, when they search for your brand, when they search for your company. To avoid confusion, you will need to incorporate your name, and if it's not available, choose something close to it. You can register your domain name with a domain registrar, and so that, for example, GoDaddy. And the thing here is that some hosting service providers also serve as domain registrars, so find out before purchasing. You got to also think about the SSL certificate. So for your business's security and reputation and the safety of user information, obtain an SSL certificate, so a secure sockets layer certificate, and from an SSL certificate provider. This is really important. And you also got to think about a web builder, a website builder. So you need to sign up on a website builder to create your website without coding experience. So you don't need to have programming experience. You don't have to have knowledge of CSS or HTML. No. You can actually, you have templates. Nowadays, you have templates with features you can customize to design your choice website. As a matter of fact, you can even actually have a drag and drop builder. So you can start from a clean, white canvas and really build up your site from the bottom up. You also need to think about search engine optimization. So from the start, you want to use an SEO tool to create an SEO strategy so that your content follows basic SEO practices and techniques and starts achieving your desired results. This is really important. Also think about point of sale. If you are offering services or selling products that require processing and accepting payments, you will need to incorporate a POS service into your websites. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. So now that I've given you the foundation you need to really think about, let me give you the step-by-steps in order to design your website. Number one, you need to define the site's purpose. So to design a website that yields expected results, you need to define what you want from it, right? What's the vision? What's the purpose? What's the goal here? Consider why you are designing the website in the first place, who your audience is, and what you're targeting. Are you trying to get downloads? Are you trying to get sales, reservations, appointment booked, engagements, or even a larger audience? Is it a landing page? Is it a company website? What kind of website is it? Is it a blog? So you got to answer those questions. It is kind of crucial that you have a clear idea about the purpose of the intended website, because having a clear idea about this information will help you adopt the right content strategy and guide you through choosing the right platform, theme, and page architecture from the get-go. See, those things are quite essential. You can't just say, you know what, I'm going to think about it later on. No. You need to think about it beforehand so that the whole architecture, the whole process is guided from the right point of view from the get-go. So step number one, you need to define the site's purpose. Step number two, you need to choose your platform. So once you note why you are building a website, you can check out website builders. So we're talking here about a constellation of players from Wix to GoDaddy, from Shopify to Gator Builder. So you have a lot of them, okay? And the cool thing is that this do-it-yourself tools will help you to make a website yourself, even when you have no idea about coding. And the cool thing is there are those designed for specific purposes such as e-commerce, blogs, and portfolios. For instance, if you want to go with WordPress is really great for blogs, but you can use it also for e-commerce. But if you were to choose, for instance, e-commerce, go with Shopify or Wix. And so you can go with Squarespace also, or Square. Or if you want a general website builder, go for Weebly or GoDaddy. Those are really important elements. So if you are trying to build portfolio website, go with WordPress, for instance. So website builders include customizable templates for adding your text and images and even videos, and many take care of domain registration and hosting too. But you will need to use the drag and drop interface to actually design each website page yourself. In other words, it's not really complicated though. You don't have to be a whiz or an expert in designing. No, the tool is designed in such a way that you can do it. Even a newbie can do it. So you need to choose one website builder that suits the purpose of your site. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to design a website. The third thing you want to do here is to gather your brand elements. So when we're talking here about designing a website, it's important to actually define the site's purpose, choosing your platform, gathering your brand elements. So what does this mean? Brand elements. Well, brand elements really encompass a series of things. Elements are details such as colors, fonts, and images that bring your website together. So in designing your websites, you need to consider your brand's identity. So you want to start with the color scheme, working with a primary color and one or two complementary colors. Then you want to choose a text style that aligns with your brand. For example, serif symbolizes formality and authority, and sans serif, modernism and script creativity. So you got to really choose what really works for you. Do you want to go with serif? Do you want to go with sans serif, or do you want to go with the scripts? And also you want to add images to capture the user's attention, but make sure they are relevant and of high quality so they can make the right impression on users. The thing is that first impression counts all the time, even when it comes to web designs. People like your website from the get-go. Is going to be a great impression, a great first impression. And number 4, what you want to do here is you want to select a template or theme. So when we talk about template or theme, this is actually the layout of your sites, the way images, text, and buttons appears on your site. Themes are pre-designed layout to help you design your sites, even as a beginner. So it doesn't matter if you are a rookie, it doesn't matter if you are an experienced business person or entrepreneur or freelancer or individual, you are going to thrive with the right theme. Most platforms come with a range of templates divided into categories, and each category has built-in features relevant to a specific industry. So what you want to do is you want to preview them to choose one that's most relevant to your site. Note that if you choose to build your website with WordPress, for example, you will need to get web hosting from a third-party hosting provider, such as Bluehost or Hostinger, and install WordPress. With that, you'll be able to access your WordPress admin dashboard, install a theme, and import demo content from premium themes. It's really important to really think about that. Next thing you want to do here is to map out your sites. So when we talk about mapping out your sites, we're thinking about, actually having an architecture, a clear architecture of your sites. To make designing easier, you want to visualize the pages that will appear on your site and how they will link to each other. For example, knowing how many pages will be on your websites, their content and their general layouts means that you'll have a guide to work with when you start designing each part. Some people like to have a site map. Some people like to have just a general skeleton, but some people like to have the number of pages. So you can say, you know what, we're going to have 5 categories and we're going to have a total of 50 pages. So if you have this idea in your mind, this is actually the GPS that you are going to use to sort of build up your website. So whatever strategy you use, whatever model you use, make sure that you have a plan. That way, you know how to execute and you can execute properly. So number 5, you want to map out your site. Number 6, you want to design each site element. With your template or theme and website map, the next step is to begin designing each site element, such as your menu or site navigation. You got to think about the header and footer. You got to think about the search bar. You got to think about any additional elements you want when it comes to the site that you want to have, right? Now, using elements such as the following will structure your website, making it very easy to navigate. So first we have the menu, then the header and footer, and the search bar. Let me clarify things a little bit. When we talk about the menu, this element displays the items featured on your website. Make sure it is accessible on every page and displays only a few items. You don't want to cluster visitors' screens. And what about the header and footer? Well, this element enhances user engagement. The header should actually include features such as the navigation menu and your logo, which you want visitors to find quickly. A footer should actually offer information such as contact information and terms of service. What about the search bar? Well, use a magnifying glass or a box, but place it in a prominent part of every page. The top left or top right corner is often the best. And the one thing I need to say here is that there are two things I want to say here. You have to really see what your competitors are doing. So if you are in a specific industry, see what your rivals or other people in the industry are, how they actually design a website. So you can have a clear idea about what the best practices are in the industry. That's number one. Number two, do not forget something called mobile responsiveness. You want your website to actually be mobile responsive. In other words, it has to be adapted to smaller screens, because most people nowadays are actually browsing the internet through their handheld devices. So make sure that your website is responsive. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to design a website. The next thing you want to do here is to customize your web pages. So when we talk about customization, this is really important. Now, your content depends on your site's purpose, so you can tweak it to actually suit you. However, every website should have the following web pages. So you have a home page, a product or service page, an about page, a blog page, a contact page. And other pages you can add include custom 404 page, FAQ page, testimonials. Now, let me quickly go through the details here. So when we talk about the homepage, every visitor lands here. So it's a great place to summarize your website, include your logo, business name, what readers should expect from you, and the navigation menu that makes browsing your site very easy. Make sure this page is organized and eye-catching. The product or service page. This page should tell visitors what you're offering and allowing them to make a purchase. For an e-commerce site, create a page for catalog display and another to show each item in detail. The about page actually is illustrate what you are about. Tell your story, communicate your values, and highlight what makes you different from other brands. But the blog page is really great if you want to use blogging as a content marketing strategy. Then you want to have a page like this. The contact page is where you let the website visitors know how they can reach you. It can be via phone calls, emails, or social media platforms. Also, you can include your physical address, a live chat widget, or in a contact form. The 404 page is when visitors go to a page that doesn't exist on your website. You should direct them to a page displaying 404 error. You can further customize yours to include your logo, a link to your homepage, or a lighthearted message. Congrats, you'll find our error page. This is kind of cool. And the FAQ page is the frequently asked questions page. The testimonials page, if it really applicable to your industry, you can add it there too. Next thing you want to do here is to test and launch your website. So before your site goes live, you want to test loading time, content readability, linking, and mobile responsiveness. You want to actually check the contact form and any other elements that can affect user experience. You can have family members and colleagues give their feedback about your website's design. If there are no issues, go ahead and publish your sites. Okay. Also, keep updating your sites based on its performance, trends, and current business operations. The next thing you want to do here is to optimize your content. See, the thing is, just having a website up and running is not really the end of the game here. So after designing and launching your website, you should plan to optimize your site for a smooth user experience. So there are a couple of things you can do. Mobile responsiveness. I only mentioned that already. So you have internet linking, you have media optimization, you have search engine optimization. Let's talk about that. First of all, mobile responsiveness. Most websites templates are now mobile responsive. So your content reformats it to fit different screen sizes. However, to be on the safe side, consider activating a mobile app. You can test your mobile on browsers such as Safari or even Google Chrome on iPhones and Android phones. For internet linking, internal link. Allow users and search engine tools to see you as an authority in your industry. They'll also keep people on your site. So use hyperlinks to direct users to other relevant web pages. Media optimization is really important also because to prevent low ranking, higher bounce rates, lower click-through, and longer load times, work on your media files. Make sure they are not too large and that you don't have too many photos or videos on each page. Also feature only relevant images and videos. What about SEO? Now, SEO involves tweaking content such as images and text to increase the number of people on your website. Example of such optimization actions are adding alt text to images and using reliable URLs. So you really want to be in a position where you are using reliable URLs. Now, also you have to think about the best tools to design a website. Basically, you have website builders. So you will need a website builder such as Squarespace or Wix with the features required to design the website you like. You got to think about the design tools. So a design tool such as Canva is great for graphic design and photo editing. Expert marketplaces such as Fiverr and Upwork have actually several experts that can help you when it comes to website designers. You have logo makers. So you have a lot of tools that are necessary if you are yet to design your business logo and want to do that alongside your website designing process. And also think about photo apps. So use photo apps such as stockphoto.com and Unsplash to find visually appealing images to go with your text. Let me give you a few pro tips here. And so once you do design a website or hire a web designer, this is an important question because your website is actually your online identity, right? It's actually going to represent, it's going to crystallize your online identity. So designing can be tricky, but thanks to website builders with customizable templates and elements, it's pretty straightforward to design your dream website. However, deciding whether to hire a professional website designer or design one yourself depends on your budget, skill, and website requirements. The question for you is, what is your website requirements? Well, what are your website requirements? What are you trying to get from your website? If you have the money to pay an expert, you can hire an expert web designer, especially if the intended site is complex or you don't have time to actually design it. But you should utilize website builders if you enjoy building and would rather avoid the back and forth involved in working with another person. Then you should really utilize website builders. Or you can actually just outsource the whole thing to a third-party website such as Fiverr or Upwork or TopTal or freelancer.com. Okay, because at the end of the day, it's all about cost and also quality. And so the thing here is that there are some website builders that are easier to use when it comes to building a website. For example, GoDaddy, Weebly, Squarespace. Those are really easy to use. When we talk about the software that is great for web design, Squarespace is really great. GoDaddy is really great also. And if you are looking for an e-commerce sort of website, Shopify is really fantastic there too. And you can actually design your website for free if you have the right resources. There are some website builders you can use to design your website for free, but make sure you read their terms and conditions before you actually go. For example, if you go with Weebly, they'll allow you to have a website for free, but you'll have to actually showcase Weebly's branding and Square's branding, because Square owns Weebly, so you're gonna have to show their ads for free. Of course, they get the money, but you're not getting the money, and so those are things that you need to really think about. But the possibility is there. Right now, you do not need to have any idea about coding. You don't need to have any expertise in coding before actually having a website up and running. Everything should be done, and you have the capacity to get things done properly. You just need to have the right tool for you. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was explaining to you how to design a website. And I give you the overview about the whole operation here. And I give you the steps you need to take. So define the site's purpose, choose your platform, gather your brand's elements, select a template or theme, map out your sites, design each site element, customize your web pages, test and launch your website, optimize your content. And I also share with you the best tools to design your website, this is really great. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.